to Super Talk Show. It's so nice to have you with us, joining us from, I believe, Australia. So,
Yeah, from Melbourne.
good evening to you. Good morning to me. To start the interview, would you like to give an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Rhea. I'm half Indian, half German high school student, currently living in Melbourne, Australia. And as you can probably tell by my accent, I actually grew up in Germany, but moved here around 8 years ago. And I have a passion for creating tangible social impact through highlighting and, I guess, promoting diversity in the field of mental health. So I've been involved, really fortunate to be involved in a lot of Australian policy translation work, for example, with like the Harvard Stripes Initiative, which is based at the Harvard Tiered Chan School of Public Health, and also leading the first nationwide body image nonprofit here in Australia, where I've received a $50,000 grant from the Australian government. And through all of this, I'm hoping to really work on inspiring tangible change in the form of policy in Australia for mental health.
Wow, what an introduction. Can I sort of delve into your early on, how did you discover mental health as something that you're interested in pursuing for social change?
Yeah, so I'm a rower as well. So not sure if a lot of people will be familiar with rowing. It's quite popular in Australia, but it's sort of like kayaking, except a bit different, if that sort of explains. I mean, I know rowers hate the comparison to kayaking, but I think just to make it a bit more accessible. And so through rowing, I know I've been exposed to a lot of my fellow athletes and classmates. They were really, especially during the pandemic. I mean, Australia, Melbourne specifically, we had the longest lockdown in the world. And I realized that a lot of my rowing friends were really struggling with eating disorders and mental health issues. And although I really wanted to provide, a shoulder and someone who could support, I really wanted to see how could we prevent these issues and how could we make a difference to future generations, which is how I got involved with trying to find research initiatives that were doing preventative work. And that's how I got involved with the Harvard Stripes Initiative. And I worked on translating legislation there, which is currently being passed in California, Massachusetts, and New York, as well as Texas and other states. And then I'm currently working on bringing that over to Australia. So currently with that work, I work with the Mental Health Foundation of Australia, speaking to over 600 people at the Mental Health Summit a couple of months ago, and also working to make sure that, as coming from a diverse background, half Indian, half German, making sure that the current technologies that are being developed for mental health are representative and are being able to be used by people from diverse backgrounds. So I'm doing a lot of research with the University of Sydney and Stanford University to make that happen, because I think it's really, really important to make sure that the current technology and AIs, I mean, I'm sure you're all very familiar with Chat GPT and the current technologies that are being developed, making sure that all members of the community can really access that and really have tangible benefit from that.
Okay. So first of all, congratulations for speaking to 600 people and working with university. I have to say that first. But second of all, how did you, expand and scale up your impact? For us, we're under 18. I know there's a lot of barriers for entry into different fields and different research opportunities. So how did you actually expand your local impact to make such a global difference?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think that having started on this journey, when I was 14, so 2 years ago, I'm currently 16, I really focused on my current environment, I guess, just trying to create change in the community and trying to create change, I guess, in school in my local community first. So I got elected as a youth councillor, representing my region for over 110,000 people. And it's a really, really amazing platform. So through there, I was involved in a lot of local policy change, and also involved in representing the people's views of Boroondara, which is the region I'm in. And through there, then I was able to sort of keep on scaling my impact, and working with the Harvard Stripes Initiative was also where I guess just reaching out to people and really making sure that you are sort of connecting different groups. That's how I scaled my impact, because I was able to work with the Harvard Stripes Initiative, who then referred me to researchers at Sydney University and at Melbourne University who I then founded the Body Confident Collective Youth Initiative with. So I guess it's really just about like reaching out to people and trying to make a difference at a local scale first, and then scaling up and being able to really bring networks together and just really talking to people, because people want to, like, people are open to talk, and if you really want to create impact, it's something you can definitely do. So start at a small scale, and then you can just leverage up and really try and impact as many people as you can.
Wow, that's a great answer. So actually before the interview, I did a little bit of research for you on you, sort of, on your Instagram page. And I figured you won like something called Australia Citizen of the Day, I remember.
Yeah.
About like that a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I was so fortunate to win that award. Essentially, I was awarded by the Federal Treasurer of Australia, and I was like awarded the Young Citizen of the Year, like on the 26th of January. And it was essentially recognizing the community work that I've done and working with the Harvard Stripes Initiative, and also working towards like what I've done in terms of Burundara, our local council, getting the government to invest $16.5 million towards like e-waste legislation, and establishing Headspace Hawthorne, so like a mental health hub in the region. But for me, I don't think that it was just an award signifying my work, but I think it was really an award also signifying that the change that we're making as like youth activists in Australia and internationally as well is being recognized and is being deemed as something that's important. And I think that's really integral, because in order to make, tangible change, you first need to have that recognition. And I think that we've seen that it's been really, really integral into having these, sort of scapes into policy currently, and helping like change the future of mental health by like working with research. But then also I'm currently working on an eating disorders education module for youth, which is combining the current research with the innovation happening, and being able to present that not only in Australia but internationally with like the Columbia College, the Lagos College of Physicians, and being able to present that to adolescents. I think that the award just showed that people are listening, and that mental health is an issue which, although is rising, we need to take preventative action for. So we can't keep on trying to, my mantra going into mental health is that I'm trying to help start the movement towards prevention of mental health and eating disorders, rather than always trying to treat something. And that's what I hope my end goal is, to work through creating interdisciplinary policy to work on preventing public health issues.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So congratulations for that too. I want to ask, like going back to your experience as a high school student, ongoing experience, how do you balance like everything that you do with, the day-to-day tasks of assignments, schoolwork, homework? How do you do that?
Yeah. So I guess what helps is I'm very, very passionate about like mental health and creating this social impact. So it doesn't feel like I'm really trying to do two sets of work in terms of doing schoolwork as well. And I really, really love learning. So I guess school, I've also been very lucky that school is something that comes a bit more naturally to me, in terms of that I don't have to spend endless amount of time. And I think that that's not something that I was like innately born with, but I think that's something that I've been really fortunate to cultivate. That I think if you have this love of learning and just really wanting to learn more about each of your subjects, even the things at school, even if you maybe don't enjoy a subject at school, just trying to delve into the aspects you do like, just forming a passion for doing school makes everything a lot easier. And then just really like scheduling time. I mean, don't try like Mary Kondo your room in terms of like hyper efficient studying and things, but just really trying to just see, I think you'd be surprised at how many like mindless things you do, and like you waste time on without even thinking about it. And I think that honestly a big thing is that I never used to be an early riser. I guess that rowing has sort of definitely forced me to be an early riser. But during COVID, I was suddenly just like one day I was like, okay, I'm gonna like get up really early from now on. So I got up every day at like 5:30. I mean, it was a bit over the top, going from like waking up at like 8:29, 1 minute before school starts, to 5:30. But you'd be amazed at how much you achieve in the morning. I would 100% recommend it. Like, best change.
Wait, so a follow-up question to that, how many hours do you sleep?
Oh no, no. I sleep. Yeah, I sleep like I sleep like 8, 9 hours. I just go to sleep earlier. But I feel like if you, especially for me, it depends on different people. But I guess getting up early in the morning, it really provides me with like this really good mindset. I feel like I know that a lot of my classmates and friends who do the same, they just feel like they've achieved so much in the morning. Like I feel like I've already gotten so much done, and then it's already only just the start of the day. And I guess that even if I guess you're just shifting your frame from like later to earlier, and even if you achieve the same amount of work in that same time frame, it just like psychologically the benefit is just it's so big.
Hmm. Wow, I'll definitely try that. And so should our super audience. So I guess like the last question for you is something I always ask every super talk show guests. It's if there's an advice you can give to, or a tip or a quote from you that you can give to our audience about like how you got to where you are today, what would that be?
Ooh,
Like our last quote from you.
yeah. Okay. Well, I guess the one thing that I really stand for is being interdisciplinary. And I guess what I mean by that is that I think anyone watching this should really try see how you can create connections between different things in your life, different things that you're passionate about. And I think that something that I mean, what I'm really passionate about is mental health and policy, and creating those like making interdisciplinary decisions between those, and really like working on bringing people together, making intersectional decisions. I think that's something that you should really embrace in life, because I think that's how you can be able to really make the most of your school, make the most of your impact in society, and really make also like make the most of your life. Because really having like a global perspective on things, making sure that in school you're like, making connections between different subjects. Because really what I've realized over the last I guess couple of years is that nothing exists in isolation, that once you draw these parallels, it's really really powerful in changing your mindset and changing the way you see, which really fundamentally changes like what legacy you leave in the world.
Wow, Rhea, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was such a good talk show, like a little interview with you. And thank you so much for joining us, even if it's super late in the evening for you. Thank you
No
so much.
worries, no worries.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.